안녕하세요, kimincoree 박키미입니다. Hi, this is Kimi Park from kimincoree, and today we are going to talk about the mat of Korea. So what does mat mean? I'm talking about the word mat in Korean, which can have several meanings, but the main one is flavor. You might recognize mat from these expressions. 맛있어요. 맛없어요. 맛있겠다. So today we are gonna learn how to talk about 7 flavors in Korean 한식, in Korean cuisine, how to use those words in example sentences, and what are my favorite food in each of these flavors. So let's get started. The first one is sweet. In Korean, 달다. For example, you could say 이 디저트는 정말 달라요. This dessert is really sweet. Blueberry, strawberry, 달콤 맛이 돼. But you might also know another word to mean sweet, 달콤하다. Sweet like candy, 달콤한 flavor. 달콤한 건 잘 못 참지. 달콤한 poison in my blood runs. The difference is that 달다 means to be sweet, as in to describe the actual taste or flavor of something that is sweet, whereas 달콤하다 means sweet or sweet tasting in the more general sense of the term and not just specifically the taste. 우리의 첫 만남은 카라멜 마키아토처럼 달콤했지. 달콤한 포장에 가려진 내 테스트. And Korea is very sweet indeed. They love to put sugar in everything, which can be a little bit much for my personal palate, but I do love a lot of their dessert. If you're looking for a sweet traditional dessert, there's loads of variation of tok. Tok is a rice cake. In terms of my favorite street foods, you have pogopang, which is a fish-shaped pastry filled with sweet red bean paste, pat, or cream. Keranpang, which is a sweet egg bread, or hotak, which are sweet pancakes filled with sugar, honey, nuts, or cinnamon. And one of my absolute favorite Korean dessert is bingsu, ice water, and it's basically just shaved ice with loads of toppings, such as condensed milk, fruits, chocolate, matcha, pat. You name it, there's loads of options. Our taste number 2 is bitter. In Korean, 쓰다. For example, 커피는 쓴 맛이 있어요. Coffee has a bitter taste. And coffee is really the thing I think about when I think about 쓰다 in 한식. Now, coffee of course is not a 한식, but it is a very popular drink in Korea. Probably even the most favorite non-alcoholic drink in Korea. As a European, something that surprised me in Korea is like their favorite coffee is ice americano, and they drink it all year round, even in winter when it's really cold, which I don't really understand. The other thing in Korea is that their coffee is not very strong compared to the types of coffee that we like here in Europe. Coffee was introduced in Korea by Westerners coming to Korea in the 20th century either as soldiers or missionaries. And now Korea is one of the largest consumer of coffee in the world. And that's very visible when you walk the streets in Korea because there's always at least one coffee place. They have loads of coffee chains which are quite handy if you want to hang out with your friends quite late but you don't want to go to a bar and consume alcohol. And coffee is very cheap in Korea as well. So a lot of students actually study in cafes rather than at home or at university. There's even special 24 hours open study cafes. You'll see a load of those, especially if you go in the areas close to universities. And Korea is also very famous for its cute Instagrammable cafes. So hearing about this range of places at which you can drink your coffee, it's not surprising to hear that Seoul has one of the highest concentration of coffee shops or cafes per capita in the world. 쓰다 can also mean bitter in the more figurative way. Aside of the flavor meaning, it can also mean bitter as in a painful thing. 그 일은 매우 쓴 기억이에요. This incident is a very bitter memory. Our third taste is 짜다. 짜다 means salty. For example, 이 생선은 약간 짜요. The fish tastes a bit salty. 짜다 in Korea makes me think of my 할머니, my Korean grandmother, who's always complaining about my imo, my aunt's food. She's always tasting and she's like, 짜. complaining that it's too salty. In general, Korean food is not very salty compared to European food. I think you can see that just by the fact that in Europe you have a shaker of salt on every table in all the restaurants. And I had some of my Korean friends complaining about how salty the food was, especially in Italy for some reason. So to me, European food is not salty, but it's definitely saltier than the food you get in Korea. Now, salt plays a big part in hantik, in Korean food, especially in the process of making that food. So I'm thinking particularly about fermentation. So I don't know if you know how to make kimchi, but salting the leaves of cabbage is the first part of making kimchi, and it helps it with the fermentation process. And other staple ingredient in hantik, such as soy sauce or doejang, which is a fermented soybean paste, also contains salt. Number 5 is a taste that everybody associates with Korean food. Can you guess? Of course, it is spicy.
We keep it spicy.
Spicy in Korean is 맵다, as in 떡볶이는 너무 매워서 땀이 나요. The tteokbokki is so spicy that I'm sweating. The ingredient behind Korean food's spiciness is called gochu. Gochu is a red chili.
Tastes like chili, Philly, dilly.
And it's usually used in Korean cuisine in 2 forms. The first one is gochujang. Jang means a paste. Gochujang is a fermented chili paste. And the second one is gochugaru. Garu means powder, so it's red chili flakes. I really love spicy food, so I'm really happy when I'm in Korea. And some of my favorite spicy dish are kimchi, of course, basic, 불닭 ramen, tteokbokki, bibimbap, and yamyeon chicken. What about you guys? Can you handle spicy food? Let me know your level in the comments. Number 6 is sour.
Sour candy in your mouth.
In Korean, 시다. 일부 과일 주스가 너무 셔요. Some fruit juice are very sour or very acidic. There's another word for sour that you might hear, 시큼하다. 레몬은 시큼한 맛이 나요. In terms of sour Korean foods, I think some types of kimchi could be considered sour, and I'm thinking as well about makgeolli, which is fermented rice wine, which can have a bit of a sour taste, but it's also sweet at the same time. And delicious. Our 7th and final mat for today is tasteless or bland. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's not ending well. In Korean, 싱겁다. For example, 이 음식은 너무 싱거워요. This can mean bland in other contexts, not just food and flavors. For example, 그 영화는 내게 너무 싱겁게 느껴졌어요. That movie felt very dull to me. So it can mean that something is dull or bland. And the one Korean food which is bland that springs to mind is juk. Juk is porridge, but Korean porridge, so it's made out of rice, not oats. It's usually rice, water, and a bit of vegetables, and it's mostly eaten when you're sick. So you know when you see in K-dramas that one character brings to the other character a little porridge to make them feel better. It's that type of porridge we're talking about, it's juk. And there you have it. I hope that you guys enjoyed learning about hansik의 맛, the taste of Korean food. And as always, if you find this video useful, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!